Welcome to the Autosportradio.com 2020 show. I'm your host, Don Kay. We are still at the Grant King Race Shops at 8051 Crawfordsville Road, if and when things open, which probably won't be for a while. 8155. I'm sorry, I get the wrong address. 8155. When things open, you got to come down. It's a working museum. You'll love it. Today's show is presented by Honda and Honda HPD, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the NTT INDYCAR Series, SVRA, and McGilvery's Pub and Eatery and Speedway. If you have a problem with your computer, which seems to be my love life, we have A+ affordable computer doctor, Steve Frye. If you got a problem, give him a call. If need be, he'll make a house call. Number is 317-328-0766. And everybody's favorite doctor's appointment, of course, is a dentist. And I can recommend the very best, the Indy Dental Group. Indy 500 veteran Dr. Jack Miller and his wife, Dr. Liz Lewis, have a phenomenal practice going. You'll love it, I guarantee you. It is a phenomenal practice. The people are top shelf. Give them a call, make an appointment. Number is 317-846-6125. And if you ever wondered what it's like to drive your favorite race car on your favorite track, from dirt midgets at the Chili Bowl to a Formula One car at Nürburgring, Indy Simulation can put you in the driver's seat of their Sim Experience full motion race simulator. Take your choice of over 160 cars and tracks. In iRacing, the same simulation professional drivers use to race their real-world rivals. Learn new tracks and stay sharp between races. Just visit INDYSIM.com today and book your free demonstration ride. And don't forget, the Andy Granatelli exhibit is at the Indiana IMS Museum. You need to get over there. It's a great show. And of course, those of you who knew who Andy was way ahead of his time. He's got some phenomenal stuff. So get over to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum and check out the Andy Granatelli exhibit. If you've ever wondered, what's it like to drive an Indy car? What's the excitement about it? Well, why don't you take a ride in Indy Racing Experience? Whenever they run, you can look it up on IndyRacingExperience.com, find out where they're running and when, and make an appointment. And in the promo box, put DK1 to get a 50% discount. If it's time to renew your home, your car, or your commercial property, do what most of us have done. Call Mike Pardee at VP Insurance. He's located at 5004 West 16th Street in Speedway. Give him a call, tell him your problem. You'll likely find you get better coverage for less money. His number is 317-248-0070. That's VP Insurance, Mike Pardee, 317-248-0070. And if you're a Trans Am fan or you're a vintage car fan, you got to subscribe to the Speed Tour magazine. Just go to svra.com and subscribe. It's a top-class magazine. Great stories, great pictures. And if you're from out of the area, when you go to an event, they'll tell you what places to go to eat and what things to see. So go to svra.com and subscribe to Speed Tour, and then click on the schedule budget and see where they're appearing next. And if you get a chance, you want to go. Are you looking for a vintage car, or you have one, need it restored? The Grant King shops can handle it. Give them a call, tell them what you got or what you're looking for, and they'll help you. The number is 317-820-3595. Now, my guest today has been very busy since this whole pandemic business started. He's the president of INDYCAR. And please welcome Mr. Jay Frye. And Jay, thanks for taking time, because I know you're meeting after meeting after meeting.
Thanks, Don. Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It was just announced, I think, on Friday that the Mid-Ohio race is on this coming weekend. And I bet you were in and out and off and on with that thing until the final decision was made.
Yeah, like we mentioned earlier, this is like the third time we've redone that event. You know, there was the original scheduled event, there was the one after that, and then there's this one. So it's all good. We're looking forward to going to Mid-Ohio. The Green Saturday guys have done a great job to be able to get it organized. So good racetrack for us, going to have a doubleheader. You know, excited about going.
What's the schedule? I understand if you're just running Saturday and Sunday, you'll have qualifying on Saturday in one race. And then will you qualify for both races on Saturday like you do on ovals?
No, we'll practice qualifying race on Saturday and qualifying race on Sunday. So we have two different qualifying sessions.
And how long a practice session will the guys get?
75 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic racetrack, beautiful facility. what kind of reaction have you been getting from fans? That I know I hear it a lot. Well, I wanted to go and we can't get in, and they're not allowing enough people and all this kind of thing. But it seems like, they're living with it.
Yeah, well, it's obviously not the same for all of us. We certainly hate, we've been to racetracks where there's not fans. We've been to racetracks where there's been limited fans. So from our perspective, even when there's limited fans, it makes a huge difference to us. I think at Iowa, we had 4,000 or 5,000 people, and it was amazing. I mean, you could hear them. It's great to have the fans. We certainly miss the fans that can't come. Obviously, we're all dealing with things that's really different. Things we've never dealt with before. So, we appreciate their patience. We appreciate the ones that come out, and hopefully, we can all get through this, and next year will look much different.
It seemed to me kind of strange for the 500. You win a 500-mile race, the most prestigious race in the world. You get out of your car, and the only people cheering is your crew. You look out. That seemed kind of strange. And then you can't talk to the drivers, or when they're doing interviews, they got masks on. This whole thing has been completely out of whack.
Yeah, to say the least. It's funny. At Indy a couple weeks ago, so the week of practice, I think we ran like 12,000 miles before or 12,000 laps before qualifying. You'd walk around and it felt kind of normal, and then you look in the stands and there was just nobody around. So it was very unnormal at that point. Race day, kind of from race control. Once we got rolling, it felt normal. Then again, like you mentioned, the post-race celebration, it was just different, right? It's odd. I think you look back on this event, it was historic in a lot of perspectives. That it was in August, not in May. We're really pleased that we were able to do it, to get it launched and get it completed. Everywhere we've went, it's been like that. So it's we've had this very elaborate 50-page kind of process that we go through to go race at different venues, venue specific. Our entire paddock has done a phenomenal job of keeping up with that and following the guidelines that we have. So again, it's just part of what we have to do now to go race, and that's what we all want to do.
And it seems strange. You look at the paddock area, which usually has fans milling around. You look around and there's nobody other than the crews and the drivers. That's it. Looks kind of strange when you see that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Like you watch, like this weekend, watch Kentucky Derby, right? So I mean, that looked. Yeah. Obviously, it's supposed to be in May. It was, this past weekend. There's just a lot of things. You watch baseball games and there's no fans. It's really, strange. But hopefully we're all getting through this, doing the right thing, and again, hopefully 2021 looks a lot different.
Well, the interesting thing to me is the INDYCAR is doing pretty well on television. Some of the Major League Baseball and the NBA are not doing nearly as well as what INDYCAR is doing.
Yeah, well, we've got a great broadcast partner with NBC Sports. I think, it's been nice this year to be on NBC as many times, the big network as many times as we have been. The races, we hopefully got a really exciting product. I think it's the windows that we've been running in has been really good. Doubleheader weekends, to a big extreme this year. So, so far so good. Again, NBC does a great job.
Interesting thing is the halo. A lot of people have made comments about it, but the most important ones you want to hear comments is the guys that are sitting in the cockpit. And it seems that they appreciate what it does and what it does, and they're not that, it's not that bad. You've improved it, gotten air movement through the car, so the guys aren't quite as bad with the heat rate, and it's proved to be very effective, it seems to me.
Yeah, there's been at least 4 incidents this year where it's certainly come into play and certainly made a difference and had the great outcome, the outcome that we want. If you look at that whole process, so at the COTA Open Test in 2019, we met with our drivers. We talked to them about what our plan was. The first phase of that plan was the AFP device that we put on the cars that May, and then in the COTA Open Test in February of 2020, we actually had the Aeroscreen on 26 cars. So it's really been an engineering marvel to get it from point A to point B. Great partners with Red Bull Advanced Technologies, Pankel, Dallara, Isoclima, PPG. So there's been a lot of people involved, a lot of people that are, obviously experts in their fields. The best of the best in the world has been involved in this project. And part of it, too, is remember, when we headed on the 26 cars in COTA this last February. Basically, right after that, we shut down for 3 months. So some of the things with the cooling and different things, we or the teams would have sorted out, but we've been having to learn on the fly just because there's, from February to Texas, we were down. So, it's been a real learning curve and learning experience on the go or on the fly as we've been racing. The teams, as always, have been doing a great job. And again, I think they've seen what, and the drivers have seen already what a positive effect it has on on their safety.
And the interesting thing is it did obviously affected the handling of the cars, and most of the teams are really now starting to figure it out, so that it's not holding them back. The speeds are back up, and the car seems to handle better. They're getting a handle on. Because anytime you put something like that on, it changes the handling of the car.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And again, like I mentioned, I mean, obviously we were all shut down from February to when we went to Texas. So a lot of this has been, as we've been racing and what they've been learning and how they've been learning, we've had less practice than normal too. So we've had no testing, less practice on race weekends. But we got really good teams, best of the best, and they're figuring it out as we go.
The thing that impresses me about what you do is, and I'm not sure, my thought is you've been involved in motorsports and have been in ownership, and I suspect have had some concerns, and those that in power haven't paid a lot of attention. You, on the other hand, do. I mean, I've never heard anybody say, Jay won't listen to us. He doesn't care what we think. And that's not true. You listen to them and listen to everybody. In fact, I'll tell you how much he listens. If I see him and say hello, he'll stop and talk to me. Not long, but he'll talk. To me, that's what really makes this thing work is that you will listen to the teams and work with them. So when you get done and you get on the track, they've got something that works for them and they're happy with what you're doing.
Yeah, well, we've got, you kind of call it the power of the paddock, and we got some really, really smart people, obviously, that they're in the sport. So why would you not talk to them? Why it behooves you to talk to them? If the more people we talk to, and then it helps us gain a consensus on ideas and what directions and things like that. So if 80% of the people you're talking to think this is a certain way we need to go, then that's probably the right way to go, because again, you're dealing with very smart people. So it's a pleasure working with this group. It's an honor working with this group. Our paddock is again, even this year, what we've dealt with, in these extreme conditions collectively and together, and to see the outcomes of how we've done things is really great. Really, really proud of the whole group. I think it was the Tuesday or a week after the St. Pete postponement, we started having team manager calls every week just to keep everybody engaged and with what's going on. And I mean, this group is, that group has led this whole thing through the process. They're, some of the leaders of the paddock. We talk to them if they see something in the paddock, they're supposed to say something. And it's a pleasure to be part of this group.
Something that caught my attention when you were designing the Halo, and that is that Red Bull technology. Now, I know the man that owns Red Bull, I don't know him, but he's a huge fan of airplanes. He's got a huge place where he has all these aircraft, and he's into, obviously, the motorsports, and his Formula One teams do pretty well. I didn't realize that Red Bull had a technology division that works with what you did, like designing things. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, so Mr. Matishitz, I've actually been to Hangar 7. It's spectacular. I mean,
I've seen pictures of it. Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. Everything they do is amazing. I mean, Red Bull's, a top-notch company, great people, great technology. So if you remember, I actually worked for the Red Bull or ran the Red Bull NASCAR team, so got to be
friends
with all the Formula One guys. They actually had an application that they put on their F1 car 3 or 4 years ago, and the FIA ultimately went with the Halo, not the Aeroscreen. So we were having some difficulties the last couple of years. We would get to a certain point with ours, and then something would happen. We get to a certain point, something would happen. So after that open test at COTA in 19, I actually called them and said, guys, can you help us finish this thing off? And they jumped on it immediately. So what Red Bull Advanced Technology does is, Red Bull owns Red Bull Racing. They own Toro Rosso, or it's called the team that won this weekend. They've got a new name with the Toro Rosso team. So they do a lot of work for both of the teams and do different things. They helped us a lot. So it's an amazing group.
Very interesting. And, is your goal at any time to get, say, hopefully get up to 20 races would that be a full year?
I don't know if the number is as important as the having really good events. So if you have 20 really good events, that'd be great. So if it's 17 really good events, that's would be the ultimate goal. So I think it's more about you want quality and quantity. So but I guess the first criteria is quality.
But you are always looking at other tracks and being attracted and looking at them. If the right one falls in place, you would add it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we look, at different things all the time. So again, I think part of what we're trying to do too, the 2020 season, the 2021 season, we're almost trying to blend them together from a, cost perspective, a technology perspective. With all going on in the world, I think this recovery, the economics matter too to the teams, the economics matter to the sponsors. So, what does that look like going into 21 and ultimately into 22? So there's no really crystal ball on it, what's next, but we've got to make sure, as we always do, that economics play a big part in what we're doing with the teams.
Now, there's always talk about another engine manufacturer. I know both of the current ones, Chevrolet and Honda, would like to have one. And if I'm not mistaken, Honda said they would offer some technological help to a new incoming one so they could get moving a little bit quicker. Is there anything going on? Is there anybody in the wing that may be ready to join in the next year or so?
Well, Chevrolet and Honda are great partners, and they've always been willing to help. So I think, I think a lot of the manufacturers we talk to, which we talk to lots of them, often, like what we're doing, they like where we're going. This year has slowed some things down in a lot of some areas in lots of ways. There's companies still that are not at full capacity working. So, we're optimistic about where we're going. Obviously, with Roger coming in and the Penske group coming in, on the automotive perspective in the automotive world, I mean, there's nobody that's more connected than he or them. And, that's a really exciting element that we now have or can talk to when we talk to the OEMs that we do. So we're very, optimistic that this is going to happen and happen sooner than later.
Well, the thing that's impressed me is, and everybody, not just me, but since Roger has come in, nothing has slowed down. Obviously, they didn't run in May, but that didn't stop him from going forth with what he's doing at the Speedway. And stepping in when there's a touch and go for an event, he stepped in and become the promoter. And the group has, so that the series can continue and will continue, so people don't forget us.
Right. Well, as you know, he's just an amazing individual, amazing man, great leader. There's nothing that surprises him. There's probably nothing he's not been involved with. There's nothing he's not touched over his lifespan. So, it's been an honor and a privilege, to get to do what we're being able to do. And, amazing. I mean, it's really hard to summarize it more than that. But, a lot of the things that have happened over the last 6 months, or certainly, he was a huge part huge part in getting it all done.
I got a private tour of the Speedway. Boy, oh boy, when the fans come back, are they going to be amazed? I took a tour, and I had a tour guide, somebody you probably heard of, Mark Miles. How
Right.
that happened, I'm not sure, but he took us on tour with Pat, and what a place. He has really done spectacular, and he's not done yet.
No, it's it's amazing just how it's come back alive, I guess is the best way to put it, where it's everything's fresh, everything's clean, everything feels right, you drive in the tunnel and you're like, it just feels like it's supposed to, like it's supposed to, right? I think that's one of the things he talked. It's looking like what it's supposed to look, and that's a huge testament to him. Obviously, that's that the Speedway has meant so much to him over his lifetime, and I think there's it's something that's going to be here for another generation or another lifetime. So it's exciting to see what he's doing to it.
Well, as I mentioned to him, I met him, didn't meet him, I shook his hand, and either 1954 or 56, I can't remember, at Meadowdale Raceway on the north side of Chicago, north of Chicago. And the thing that impressed me about him at that time was, of all the teams that were there, he was the cleanest, sharpest. His crews were, pressed clothes, clean. His driver's suit was spotless, sparkling. And I went up, and at that time, you could walk in anywhere. There wasn't like there is today. And I shook his hand and said, nice, nice looking crew. And he's done that his whole career. And the Speedway is no different. It's taken care of and it's first class.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's obviously how he's done this, his whole life. So it's funny, in 1996, when we started MB2 Motorsports, I tell people this little story, which to me still is amazing. We would be in the garage area, and he would go out of his way to come up and tell. I mean, we weren't working with him. There was no alliance or allegiance between our team and his teams, but would walk up to us and tell us, keep working hard, you're doing a great job, and then there you go, and walk off. And we would be like, holy, I mean, did he even recognize who we were or knew who we were was a huge deal, right? So, yeah, he's just an amazing person.
Well, I tell you what, I think the other thing that I admire about what you're doing is you've got the people around you to do the job. You obviously oversee everything from media and sales and so forth to getting the people that can do the job in the right place, the right people. So when you say we want to do this Halo thing, you got the people that can make it happen and put it together. And it's always impressed me how well your team does function. Because when you say we're going to do something in a year, you do it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
they're going to do something in a year, it'd be 3 years later, wasn't done yet. And you do what
right.
you say when you're going to do it.
Well, I'm not. I like to show people versus tell people, right? So there's talk and there's getting things done. So we're proud of what we've done. We got a great group. I mean, the paddock is again full of very, very, very smart people, and it's amazing what you can do collectively as a group and get things done very quick. And when you mentioned earlier about talking, so to me, it's more work up front to round the groups up, to do it. But then on the back end, it becomes so much easier and it's so much better because they've been part of the solution. They know what we're going, they know what we're doing. And over the last 5 years, we've kind of got into a cadence of different things happening different times of the year. So we just rolled, right? So it's become very routine in how we do things. This year's kind of thrown a wrench in that, obviously, because here it is September and, what's next and how the season's going to, it's not normal. But because of, I think, the process and procedures and cadence we had of things of how we've done over the last 5 years, it's part of the reason we've been able to get through this pretty seamlessly.
How do things look for St. Petersburg? Florida's been kind of a sticking point as far as this pandemic is concerned. Is there any hesitation about going back, or is it right now it looks like it'll happen?
No, right now it's the St. Petersburg area is actually doing off the charts in a good way. They're doing really well there. They're very optimistic. So we're optimistic that it's going to happen.
Well, I tell you what, it's amazing with all the problems and the other people at INDYCAR and IMS. The meetings that have gone on is unbelievable. They said sometimes we meet every day until 7, 8 o'clock at night going over every possible thing that can go wrong or how we can fix it or how we can change it, which is something that has never happened before. And I think that everything to me is pulled together and you've done the right thing the right way, whether you were allowed fans or quarter fans or whatever. The series has gone on. The television ratings are better than most professional sports, and hopefully it'll get better. Hopefully. Have you got the
absolutely? No, we'll just keep doing what we're doing.
Have you got the 2021 or the 21 schedule pretty well put together
yet? It's close. I mean, probably in the next 2-3 weeks it should be completed. Again, that's kind of fluid too, just based off of there's other motorsports, leagues and series, and how does this fit for next year and what's going to happen with them. And so it's when I mentioned about kind of taking 20 and 21 and kind of merging it together from a technical perspective and an economic perspective. There's also some things with the schedule that will kind of fold in together, I guess. But no, we're optimistic. I think if you look back at the season as it was supposed to look, the schedule will look similar to that.
Well, I also got to say, and you'd mentioned this, that NBC has certainly gone overboard. Now you've changed a date of an event and they're going to be there to televise it. So I got to assume that when you're putting a program together, you've got the two of you, racing, INDYCAR and NBC, have to work together so they can get on television. and
Oh,
make,
absolutely. I mean, that's the first call you make, right? Is what TV windows will we have for this weekend? How would that look? So this weekend, Saturday we race around 5, and then Sunday we race around 2. So there's a difference in the TV windows. So that's part of that, and we're just grateful and appreciative, because think about, everything was shut down and now everything's funneling down here to the end of the fall. So there's a lot of competition amongst other sports, for broadcast windows and time. So we're looking forward to this weekend. Got 2 good broadcast windows, or 2 good windows, and should be a great weekend.
well, I won't be at the facility, but I will be watching on NBC Gold and on NBC, and looking forward to another great race. If anybody doesn't think that the IndyCar series is probably the best series in the world, the most competitive, because on any given weekend, there's 8 or 10 teams that could win without any question. And
Absolutely. No, it's a great group, very competitive. The depth of this series is as strong as it's probably ever been. We've got a fresh crop of great rookies that are coming up too. So there's a great mix.
And boy, I tell you what, that the Road to Indy program is really showing this year in particular, with Colton Herta getting here last year, and Award and Askew coming in, and Renus VK coming in this year and showing really well.
Yeah.
It's doing its job, and it's providing you with some super talent.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we're excited about, they're a great group on the track and off the track. Good kids, excited to have them. And again, we got a really good mix, of veterans and rookies. Really excited about the future.
Well, I look forward to the event this weekend. I'm glad that I just happened to be sitting in my computer when the announcement came out, so I put it out, and I got all kinds of emails. Yippee, we can try and go, and blah, blah, blah. So I appreciate everything you are doing and your team is doing, and putting on great events, and hopefully you'll move forward and finish the season as you have tentatively got it scheduled for now.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you, Don, and all you do. Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time. I appreciate it very much, and we'll talk to you again somewhere, maybe in the off season somewhere. I'll catch you.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Okay. My guest has been the president of IndyCar Series, Mr. Jay Frye. We will be back in the next few days with another interview. Until then, stick around and follow us. We appreciate you following, and we'll be back next time. For Autosport Radio, it's Don Kay saying, see you next time.